What a roller coaster of a game here in week 8. Packers get yet another walk-off game-winning field goal victory from their kicker, Brandon McManus, beating the Jags 30-27 here in week 8, moving the Packers to 6-2 and second in the NFC North. This was a roller coaster of a game. From Jordan Love getting hurt early, to Malik Willis coming into the game, to the Jags scoring 10 unanswered to tie it in the end, to the Packers going to set up a game-winning field goal. Man, there was so much that happened. And I'll say this, I know a lot of people were upset in this game and might still be that, wow, we just only beat the Jags by 3 points. There's no only in the win column. The Packers are 6-2. And when you consider what they've gone through this year, with Jordan Love getting hurt week 1, getting 2 wins with Willis at quarterback weeks 2 and 3, Willis then playing about half of this game and getting yet another win, man, to be 6-2, there's not many football teams. There's probably not one NFL football team right now that could have had, we'll call it 2.5 games by their backup quarterback and be 6-2. Let's be completely honest. And we got to give major props to Brian Gutekunst. And I said this after week 3, to going out and getting a backup quarterback such as Malik Willis. I mean, we would not be in this situation at all if it was Sean Clifford or Michael Pratt. We saw that all offseason. We saw it all preseason. It was not going to be pretty. And if the Packers had to use one of those guys week 2 and 3, and here in this second half of this game, I don't think we'd be looking at 3-0 at all. We might be looking at 0-3, honestly. So if you want to sit here and get upset about only beating the Jaguars by 3, they're a better football team than their record states. You know, they're 2-6. So yeah, they're not a great football team. They've gotten blown out by some teams. But if you go look at the games, some of the games they've lost, man, they've had some close games where they only lose by 3, 4, 5 points. You know, they only lost by 3 here. And I said this going into this game, it really depends what Jacksonville you get, what Trevor Lawrence you get. And today, I think we got the better Jacksonville. And we still ended up winning with a backup quarterback. It's impressive. This Packers team remains resilient. I'm definitely worried about these injuries going forward. It's not only Jordan Love that got hurt, but Evan Williams. I saw Jair get hurt late. I saw Josh Jacobs hobble off late. Hopefully none of those are severe, because that's huge. Those are all starters for this Packers team. But to get a win here in week 8, to move to 6-2 in the hardest, toughest division in football, regardless, it's impressive. So let's start on offense. We can talk about Jordan Love's injury, injuring his groin early. He was definitely fighting through it, and it made it harder for him to play quarterback. He couldn't really plan on that leg. Every time he was throwing off his back foot, he was landing weird and kind of hobbling off the field. And a lot of people were saying, hey, we need to sit him. We need to just bring Willis in now. Now, unfortunately, it ended up that he tweaked it even more, it seemed, when he threw a swing pass at Jacob. I think Trayvon Walker bumped into him, and then you saw him hobble over to the sideline and basically like fall down and be like, all right, I'm done. He didn't come in after that. Luckily, Malik Willis and the Green Bay Packers and Matt LaFleur were able to put together, 3 very impressive drives. And again, you got to give massive credit to, the resilience of this football team. Love finished 14 of 22, 196. Another interception. I'll say this about the interception. I think he did telegraph the throw a little bit, but it was also an excellent play by Jarrian Jones, a guy I loved, an excellent slot cornerback coming out of this draft. I thought he was a draft steal. He made an excellent play on the ball. The Jags only had 1 interception on quarterbacks prior to that, so an excellent play. Now, the Jags' pass defense, statistically not good at all, and I will say I did expect the Packers to kind of do a lot better through the air, but it's hard to do so when your quarterback pulls his groin early in this game. You remove a lot of the plays you had out of your game plan. You start running more pistol because he can't play under center and hand the ball off correctly or run bootlegs like you want to, so it completely changed the Packers' game plan, and that's why I think it looked inconsistent and it looked shaky throughout this, first half of this game with Jordan Love playing hurt. That's why it looked bad. So hopefully going forward, Love is healthy enough to take on the Detroit Lions next week. But if not, I don't want to see what we just saw. I don't want to see a hobbling around Jordan Love against a ferocious Lions defense, right? If so be it, if we have to go into this next game planning Malik Willis at quarterback. We'll see. It depends on the severity of this groin issue, but I don't want to see a hobbling Jordan Love against the Detroit Lions. As for the Packers' running attack, man, it started off kind of shaky, and the Jags are a good run defense. They were before this game, they're 5th in the NFL, allowing 3.7 yards per carry, and that's kind of what our average was to start this game. But the second half, we heated up. Under Malik Willis, seemingly just a full power run offense when Malik Willis is at quarterback, and the Packers completely leaned into that and leaned into Josh Jacobs, who really started to heat it up in this game. I mean, he had 25 carries, 127 yards, 5.1 average, 2 touchdowns, the long of 38 where he bounced out the left sideline, juked the one defender out of his cleats. We had Christian Watson downfield blocking Darnell Savage. It was a joy to watch. And then later in the game, he had a run right. I remember vividly that Josh Hines-Allen tackled him or wrapped him up, and he carried Josh Hines-Allen like 4 yards to, I think, either get a first down or close to it. I mean, impressive. Tough running by Josh Jacobs. Tough running by these Packers running backs as a whole. When you look at the stats and you see Emmanuel Wilson, 4 carries, 5 yards, you might be like, oh, terrible game. But there's so many times where he got hit in the backfield and he still got to the line of scrimmage or still gained a couple yards. So, again, massive tough running by these Packers running backs. You also had Chris Brooks, 4 carries, 16 yards. Had great awareness late in this game to go down after the first down where the Jags wanted him to score. They were going to let him to score and allow the Packers to set up a last-second game-winning field goal. Malik Willis also carried 4 times for 23 yards. That first run, I think it was a long of 20 yards. They did the PA boot with the leak underneath. I think it was Christian Watson doing that slide, and Willis jukes Trayvon Walker and just runs up the middle of the field. He has so much athleticism, and that's why I feel comfortable with him at quarterback with this offense, with Matt LaFleur. And if it has to be him next week, I still am comfortable with that. I hope Jordan Love is completely healthy and we can go into next game with Love and hopefully beat the Lions. But I, again, don't want to see a hobbling Jordan Love next week. As for the Packers receivers, of course, Tucker Kraft leads the team in yards on National Tight End Day. Man, that one play, the long of 67, where he catches a crosser, runs across field, stiff arms the same defender like 3 separate times. He's just such a joy to watch. Tucker Kraft is super underrated, and outside of Packers fans, people need to start talking about him, and they need to start calling him a top 7 tight end in the NFL because that's exactly what he is. He finished the day, 3 catches, 78 yards, and a touchdown. Again, another great play design and execution by Malik Willis and Matt LaFleur on the goal line there to run a RPO style type of read option type of play. And honestly, I think Malik Willis could have ran to the right pylon and scored, but he just basically gave a gift to Tucker Kraft and said, hey, National Tight End Day, here's a gift, toss this up to you. And Tucker Kraft pretty much danced into the end zone and then, spiked that ball through the middle of the earth. Love to see it on National Tight End Day. Tucker Kraft, just such a joy to watch. Romeo Doubs, 3 for 72. Did have a bad drop on that one RPO where beautifully executed, where Malik Willis fired like a missile to Romeo Doubs. Should have caught that, but I can't be too mad at him. He's making so many great plays, including a terrific 9 route catch he had early in this game from Jordan Love. Some of the best late hands catch that I've seen in a long time. Romeo Doubs has been excellent for us the last 3 weeks. Jaden Reed, 2 for 55. Didn't start well. Had a drop on 3rd down, a beautiful ball by Jordan Love on a quick slant. Then we didn't really hear of him at all until it mattered late in this game. The Packers run the ball on 1st down with, I think, just under 2 minutes to go down and kick a game-winning field goal. And people are like, why are we still running? It's to set up play action, right? And that's exactly what we did the very next play. PA boot to the opposite side, to the left side. Malik Willis finds Jaden Reed screaming across the field on a crosser, wide open, and just delivers a beautiful in-stride pass. I was a little bit worried that was going to be overthrown, but it was a perfect ball. And Jaden Reed off to the races for 51 yards, all the way within the Jags' 15-yard line to go and win that game. It was a perfect play call at that point. The Packers were pretty much only running the football. The Jags kind of stacked up, and they committed to the run right after the Packers ran it on 1st down. Perfect call, perfect execution, and it won them the game. Watson finished 4 of 39, had a couple crucial catches on 3rd down there, running again a lot of slants like they did last week. Wicks 2 for 11. I mean, it's not going to be highlighted as much, but on the drive that Josh Jacobs had that huge rushing touchdown, there was a 3rd down earlier in that drive where Wicks ran a beautiful zig route and Willis found him for the 1st down. So, that matters as well, of course. So great job by Willis finding Wicks there and completing the passes when he needed to. He finished 4 or 5, 56 yards and a touchdown. Should have been 5 for 5. Through weeks 2 and 3, when Willis was at quarterback, it seemed like every time we needed him to make a play, he did, and that continued today. To wrap things up on offense, I think the Packers had tremendous pass protection today, and, Trayvon Walker's a great pass rusher, so is Josh Hines-Allen. I think Rasheed Walker and Zach Tom did excellent today against them, especially Rasheed Walker. I didn't really notice Josh Hines-Allen too much, and Rasheed Walker held him in check. Now, as for the Packers defense, going into this game, Quay Walker was out. He didn't pass concussion protocol, but to be honest, it didn't really seem like we missed him. Edgerrin Cooper got the start at linebacker, and he's got to remain playing this many snaps. Let's be honest. If Quay Walker can play nearly 100% of snaps, Edgerrin Cooper should. I mean, this guy just continues to make play after play after play, and he wasn't perfect today. I saw a couple blown coverages by him, maybe a missed tackle or two, but when it mattered, I mean, he got our only sack on the day, beating one of the Jaguars guards, getting to Trevor Lawrence, wrapping him up, swinging around his arm around the backside, punching that football out that Devontae Wyatt then fell on. Not only that drive, then the Packers go up by, I think, 10 at that point. The Jags get the ball back. Third down, crucial third down. They show A-gap pressure from Edgerrin Cooper, which they love to do. And right at snap, they bail out into a Tampa 2. And Edgerrin Cooper is tasked with tracking Christian Kirk down the middle of the field. A wide receiver, a faster wide receiver. And Edgerrin Cooper does a great job in Tampa 2, tracking him down the middle of the field and playing the football. Unfortunately, Kirk got hurt on that play, and hopefully he's all good. It didn't look good. But that play was made by Edgerrin Cooper being there and making a play on the football and making a much tougher catch by Christian Kirk. Edgerrin Cooper needs to remain on the field like at all times if possible. Let's be completely honest. Eric Wilson made, again, another couple plays. Edgerrin Cooper led the team in total tackles with 9, or tied with Eric Wilson with 9. Edgerrin Cooper, of course, had the sack, the tackle for loss, the pass defended. And man, this defense started out extremely hot. I mean, 4 straight 3-and-outs, including another Xavier McKinney interception. It's insane. This guy just continues to get interceptions. I just don't know how. He's a right place, right time every time. I did see a deep crosser that got caught on him. It was probably his first big catch allowed this season, but whatever. He got another interception. But this defense played super strong to start this game. 4 straight 3-and-outs. You know, the Jags are going to end up moving the football down the field and scoring. But I still liked what I saw overall from this defense. That lost Evan Williams into this game. That's huge for them. And hopefully with his hamstring issue, he's first ruled questionable, then ruled out at halftime. This was a huge loss for them. And honestly, if they have Evan Williams this whole game, it doesn't come down close as this. I mean, they got thrown out of their personnel that they love. They then had to put Bullard back at safety, and he got picked on heavily in this game. Let's be completely honest. It was probably Bullard's worst game as a Green Bay Packer. And that's because they had him deep. And I personally don't like him deep as a coverage safety. I like him more as a nickel corner up near the line of scrimmage, maybe in the box, playing against the run, short yardage situations when you have to play him deep or in a cover 0 look and he's man-to-man against a slot wide receiver. And it's a passing situation. That's where he struggles, and that's where he struggled today. That deep crosser, I believe, is to Christian Kirk that went for a big gain. And then right after that, the corner post by Brian Thomas. He absolutely sold on the corner. It was a great route by Brian Thomas, but nonetheless, a blown coverage by Javon Bullard. You know, I love him as a player. I see great things coming for Javon Bullard, but it was a bad day. It was a bad day for him, and the Packers severely missed Evan Williams in this game. Now, I will say this. There was multiple times I was very upset at this defense is playing too soft, and it was like, shades of Joe Barry. You know, to end the half, running 2 straight cover 2s. After the first one, they threw right at your cover 2 where they're supposed to, over the corner, under the safety, like a corner out. I think it was to Parker Washington. Then you run it again, and they do the same thing to the opposite side of the field to Brian Thomas. It's like, why are we running cover 2 there? I didn't really understand the soft coverage to end the half that they ended up, going down and getting 3, I believe. Outside of that, late in this game, the Jags are without Christian Kirk. He left with injury. They're without Brian Thomas. He left with injury after his touchdown. Why are we playing so off? Why are we playing so soft there? They're without their top 2 wide receivers. Be aggressive. Go up and press them, right? Bring some pressure on Trevor Lawrence and make their backup receivers beat you. We're just giving them 10-yard completion after 10-yard completion. And the Packers still heavily struggle with tight ends. I mean, we saw Brenton Strange, of all people, go 5 for 59 yards. That much is strange. And then also Evan Ingram, 4 catches for 36 yards, including the wild touchdown catch over 3 of our defenders. I believe it was McKinney, Bullard, and Jair. Jair seemingly also got hurt on that play. I don't know if he landed on his leg weird. I don't know. That's something to monitor. That will be a huge loss for the Packers. There's a lot of injuries in this game. Evan Williams, something to monitor with the hamstring. Obviously, Love with the groin injury. Jair late in that game hobbled off. Jacobs late in that game hobbled off. I mean, that would be terrible to lose any of those guys, of course, for any period of time. So something to monitor going forward for this Detroit game. But overall, I was happy with the Packers defense. We created 2 turnovers. I think at some point in the fourth quarter, the Jags were like 0 of 8 on third down. So, we got our stops when needed. We definitely did. And at the end of the day, we still won, right? 6-2. And man, obviously got to talk about special teams. It feels so good to have a kicker here in Green Bay and not feel worried when we're lining up for a 24-yard field goal, 31-yard field goal, 45-yard field goal, right? 3 for 3 today for McManus, including the game winner of 24. You just feel confident now. And that's a veteran kicker. I mean, the last 2 kickers we had were rookies and young kickers coming into the NFL, and they were very, very inconsistent. Where you see McManus, a Super Bowl winner, he comes in here and it doesn't look like he's nervous at all to go out and make these kicks, and 2 straight game winners for McManus. Maybe we found our long-term answer, at least for the next couple of years. He's 33 years old, the oldest player on the team. But if he continues to kick like this, and we'll see what happens when it gets colder and colder, but hey, we might have found our kicker for the foreseeable future. I'm completely on board with it if he continues to hit game winners like this. It's been awesome to finally have a kicker and not be too worried. But although, as a Packers fan, you're always worried because of the past. You're always sitting there going, oh, please don't miss, please don't miss. But luckily, he hasn't missed yet as a Packer, and 2 straight game-winning field goal kicks. So that does it for my instant thoughts and reactions to this very shaky win, we'll call it, but a win nonetheless for the Green Bay Packers, moving to 6-2, beating the Jags here in Week 8, 30-27. We head back to Green Bay here in Week 9 before a bye week in Week 10 to take on the Detroit Lions, who just absolutely obliterated the Tennessee Titans. I mean, there was so much wild stuff happening on special teams in that game. That might have been the worst special teams performance I've ever seen, and that's saying a lot coming from a Packers fan because we've seen some bad ones. So it's going to be a tough matchup, and it really depends on a lot of these injuries too. Like if we're without Love and Jacobs, or Love and Williams and Jair, I'm not too confident in that, but we'll see going forward. I still like our matchup against the Lions, even if it's Malik Willis. I'm confident in the Green Bay Packers. We're a 6-2 football team. We're second in the NFC North, the toughest division in football. Let's keep on riding. Let's keep on getting these wins. I think that's 4 straight now. So let's keep it going into the bye week, Week 10, Lions next week. I appreciate you guys coming by to the video. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like down below. Go click subscribe if you're new here to stay in the loop with everything Green Bay Packers. But I'll catch you on the next one. And as always, go Pack, go.